Java moss really grows like a weed under optimal conditions. This is a fairly low light tank, but it does extremely well. It had grown together, probably largely due to the flow in this tank, into a sort of central mass in this tank. But to make room for driftwood ornaments with Anubias attached from the shrimp colony I'm breaking down, I had to remove a good portion of the Java moss, and so now it's kind of all over the place. But it certainly makes the shrimp more visible. They are enjoying reaching sprigs of Java moss that they haven't been able to get to for months, so there's lots of microbes growing on the plant for them to consume. But I saved all of the Java moss that I removed into a 10-gallon where I just have a hang on the back filter and an LED light. I saved clippings from water wisteria in that tank as well, and it propagates quite well. I hope that I'll be able to sell some of those plants to my local pet store if they're willing to trade with me. I noticed on my trip to the pet store today that they're selling Java moss for $10 a clump. They don't have any water wisteria for sale, so I'm hopeful that they will purchase that from me as well. Here's a look at the propagation tank. Not a lot to see, just loads of Java moss and water wisteria. Here's a look at the 10-gallon shrimp colony that I'm gradually breaking down. The tank is infested with pest snails and limpets. I've largely been able to keep them under control by manual removal. However, the tank has a recurring problem with blackbeard algae, and I'm not sure why water wisteria doesn't grow well in this tank. I was under the impression that it was because the nutrients in the substrate had been depleted. However, I'm able to grow water wisteria quite successfully in a tank with only fish waste as fertilizer. I believe that including a thin piece of clear blue plastic on the glass canopy to reduce the light causes the water wisteria to grow tall and spindly like this. I have several Anubias nana plants attached to the smaller pieces of driftwood in the tank, and they are attached with super glue gel, and the root structure has attached to the driftwood ornaments, so I don't want to remove the plants for fear of damaging them. What I'd like to do is go ahead and put those ornaments in the shrimp colony that's doing very well. That tank is also infested with the pests, so it doesn't make much difference. But I want to move my latest aquascape to this stand to make room for the next one, because aquascaping works best in my bedroom where I have blackout curtains and I'm able to completely control the ambient light in the room. Now for the fun part, to very carefully and slowly add the driftwood ornaments to the tank and give the cherry shrimp a chance to get out of the way. Before moving the driftwood ornaments with the Anubias nana attached to this tank, I neglected to treat those ornaments with hydrogen peroxide. So since then I've removed them twice and treated them out of water with the H2O2. And the blackbeard algae infesting the ornaments has largely died off. It's at least turned to rust color, so that indicates that it's on its way out. Hopefully I won't have issues with it in this tank. I think the addition of more driftwood ornaments with more Anubias really adds something to this tank. I'll have to keep the Java moss trimmed so I'll be able to see the Anubias. But overall, I think it makes a pretty good scape.